Today we're going to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act energy efficient home improvement credits for 2023 and beyond. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'm Jeff Ludy, the window and door expert. I'm standing here in Houston at Houston Window Experts, my company where we sell and install windows and doors. If you're in the area, I'd love to meet you. If you don't live in this area, check out jeffslist.com. It's a place where you can find a great window company near you. So just recently, the Inflation Reduction Act, and whatever you think that means or whether you agree or disagree about it, it was passed recently, and there's some things in here that I think are important to you if you're looking at home improvements that involve energy efficiency. One of them is called Section 25, and I'll put a link below to some more information about these tax credits and how they apply, because they may apply differently to you. You should always check with your local jurisdictions because there are going to be some interwoven credits issued into certain parts of the country and to certain communities based on their economic status that may apply to you that I'm not going to cover here today. But Section 25C of the Inflation Reduction Act talks about energy efficient home improvement credits. What does this mean? This means that you can actually get a credit for doing some things to your home that might bring some energy efficiency to your home, which means it's going to reduce your heating and cooling bill, perhaps your light bill, different things that are going to apply. Obviously, you've heard about solar, you've heard about wind, all those kind of things that the government's really investing some money into. But believe it or not, there's also some money available to you when it comes to windows and to doors. So I want to cover for you a little bit about what is known at this time. A lot of this stuff is still being taught and is still being learned by people from the IRS. So there's no real, true, clear answers. But here's what we know so far. What we know right now is that this is going to extend until 2032. So it's a 10-year window for doing this. And you can use a maximum of $1,200 per year in a credit for this. Now here's what's really cool, is you can actually get $1,200 per year over the next 9.5 or 10 years of this program, which means that it's not a one-time thing of $1,200. You can make some improvements to your home in 2023 and claim a $1,200 credit. You can use them again in 24 and claim a $1,200 credit, and this can go on and on. But the cap is per year $1,200. Now, this is going to be for things like HVAC, insulation to your home, windows and doors. And what they'll pay for is you can get a credit of 30% of the total purchase price of the materials, not of the labor. So you have to see whatever quote you get from some window company or door company. They need to break out the materials separately from the labor. Okay, so this is materials only. And you can get a 30% credit for up to $600 for that year. So for example, if you decide I want to buy new windows for my house, and your window job was $1,800 for the materials, and let's say it was $1,000 for the labor, so it was $2,800. That means that $1,800, you could get 30% of that back, of the $1,800. If it was 33%, it'd be $600. So I'm not the best at math, but you see the point here is 30% of that money that you spend on windows can be issued back to you as a tax credit. Now, you won't get the money immediately from the window company or the door company, but you will be able to take this off your taxes, and your person who helps you with your tax return would be able to assist you with that in 2024 when you do your 2023 return. So you can get up to $600. Now for doors, okay, you can get $250 for the first door, and you can get to another $250 for a second or more doors. So you'd have basically a total cap of $500 when it comes to doors. $250 for the first one, and then $250 for the second one, third or fourth or fifth. So here's $500, here's $600, that's $1,100 of the $1,200. The reason they say $1,200 is because for HVAC and for insulation and some other things, there are different criteria. But if it comes to windows and doors, the maximum you're going to be able to get out of this is going to be a total of $1,100 if you have $600 worth of windows and then $500 worth of doors. So it's pretty cool. If you're thinking about buying windows or doors, this might be a good chance to take advantage of this. Now, I do want to point out, I want to come back to this because this is important. I'm going to put a little asterisk here because I want you to think about this. Beware of many window companies will not give you a breakdown on their pricing. I don't know why they don't do it. You can go to any place in town and you can go to a mechanic and you can say, what did it cost to fix my car? They'll break down materials from labor. But a lot of window companies won't do that. And it's because they kind of bury it all into one lump sum. We here at Houston Window Experts, we give you a printout. We give you a line by line for each individual window and what it will cost. So I think it's important that whoever you're dealing with, ask them for clarity on that. Otherwise, you might end up with a problem down the road. Now, there are some requirements for these windows in order for them to qualify. Not every window is going to qualify. So if you're familiar, you've heard of Energy Star, right? EnergyStar.gov is a website, and I'll put a link down here where you can go see what the criteria are to equal energy efficient products that fall into that category. Now, within their category of Energy Star rated, they also have another standard that's a higher stringent of requirements, and that's called the most efficient category. Most efficient. I'm going to put ME here. The most efficient category is products including washers and dryers and HVAC and windows and doors that exceed the standard required to be Energy Star by yet a higher standard. And so those numbers are even more difficult to achieve. And for you to qualify on this 30% for windows, up to $600, it must meet the most efficient standard when it comes to Energy Star. The doors, by the way, only have to equal the Energy Star rating, but the windows must equal the most efficient rating. Now, I hope I haven't lost you there. But here's what it is. You're going to need a U factor, and if you're not sure what a U factor is, I'm going to put a link to a video down below of explaining the NFRC window stickers, and this is something you need to be trained on, so when you see a window, you can see the window sticker and make sure it works. You have to have a U factor of 0.20 or below, okay? So 0.20 or below for it to work. Now, solar heat gain, SHGC, is going to vary. So U factor across the whole country is a 0.20 or below. Solar heat gain is going to vary, and I'm going to read off this list to you here. If you live in the south or south central, which is where I'm at, it's got to be a 0.25 or better, because what we want to do is keep the heat out, right? If you go further north, what they would call north central, it's got to be a 0.40 or better. And by the way, that means that you get more sun coming through your window, more heat. This is solar heat gain. The lower the number, the better. You have more sun coming through your window. But why? Well, because that's good, because you live in a northern climate where you spend more time trying to heat the house. Glass, it lets more heat come through the window, is not good in a southern climate, but it's good in a more north or north central or northern climate because you get more heat coming in from the sun. And then if you notice here in the very far north area, what you're going to need is you're going to need a solar heat gain of 0.20 or better as well. Okay, good. All right, so they're pretty much the same there. What you're going to need is to have your specific windows meet your specific zone, and you'll be able to determine that by talking to the window company in your area or by going to EnergyStar.gov, which I'll put a link to down there below, and that will help you understand what you're going to get, but it needs to qualify. Now, I do have a bone to pick with our legislatures, whoever came up with this program, because I think that they've made a mistake right here, and hopefully they'll identify it soon and they will correct it. I don't think that this big, broad statement of a U factor of 0.20 or better is actually the best thing to do. The solar heat gains varying from zone to zone make a whole lot of sense to me, but why they would take the U factor and make it global and say everybody has to have a U factor of a 0.20 does not make sense. Let me explain why. First of all, there's only probably about 5% of the products in the whole country that actually will equal a 0.20 on the U factor. Now, let me tell you what U factor is so that this makes more sense to you. U factor tells me how well this window is at insulating the cold coming through, whereas solar heat gain tells me how good it is at the heat coming through. Now, in a climate where you're up north, a 0.20, the lower the number, the better. Absolutely. I totally get that. That makes a lot of sense. In a climate where we are down here in the south, going with a 0.20 U factor does not make any sense for us at all. We don't have cold climate. What they've done now is they've eliminated a whole part of the country pretty much that's going to be able to take advantage of this 30% credit on materials, because getting a 0.20 factor window down here in Houston, Texas is way overkill, and you're going to spend extra money for it. It's actually cheaper for you to not take the $600 credit than it is to go ahead and spend money on a 0.20 U factor window. Why? Well, because to get a 0.20 U factor, you're almost always going to have to go to triple pane. Going to triple pane window has its advantages in very cold climates, But it has great disadvantages in climates where you don't need a 0.20. For example, in a warmer climate like ours, actually a better performing unit would be a double pane unit with more argon gas in it. Think about this. When you have 3 panes of glass in a window, you lose some of your dead airspace. When you lose dead airspace, you lose volume, you lose capacity to be able to put argon gas in there. So you're swapping out argon gas, right, which is what we will love to have here, for more glass and more cost. It costs more money to make a triple pane unit than it does a double pane unit. What I also don't like about triple pane versus double pane is triple pane tends to have more seal failures than double pane does. So now you have an issue with that. What I don't like about triple pane versus double pane as well is that it actually doesn't look as clear. You don't get as much visible light transmission coming through the window. What I don't also like about that is typically in order to get a 0.20, now you have to have a foam-filled cavity on your window in order for the window to reach that. What they've done is they've said, you know what, we want you to get a car that'll go 400 miles an hour when you're in a school zone that limits you to 20 anyway. It makes no sense to me. I hope somebody at the IRS or somebody at the Department of Energy, somebody in our legislators are watching my video. Please share this with someone because it makes no sense for this. They're going against the whole concept, the whole idea of what they're trying to achieve by doing this. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox now, but that's the truth behind it, and I hope this has been helpful. One last thing I want to mention about this is that if you do want an energy audit, they do contribute $150 towards an energy audit for your home, which is nice. That means it kind of tells you where you are on things, but be very, very, very careful. A lot of these energy audit companies that charge you this $150 for this energy audit that's free, they use that as a segue to lead you into selling you a bunch of stuff. If you're interested in buying a bunch of stuff, go for it. If you're interested in high pressure, somebody trying to cram insulation and spray in foam insulation and an upgrade and an upgrade and an upgrade to your home, if that's important to you, great. But this $150 is really a way to say to that segment of my industry, we're going to pay for you to go into somebody's home and sell them stuff. So be careful that you're actually in need of what they're selling and that you're buying stuff that you really want to benefit from. By the way, they also have a program for new construction, energy home new construction. So if you're building a new house, you can get $2,500 towards the purchase of your house if you're using certain materials. Check that out as well. And then lastly, there's a program coming soon called HOMES. I don't know what HOMES stands for, but you know our government, right? They come up with something pretty cool all the time. HOMES can give you a rebate of $2,000 to $4,000, between $2,000 and $4,000 for doing energy efficient improvements to existing homes, not new construction. So we're looking forward to see what that's all about. When that comes out, I'll make sure to make a video about that. Don't forget, if you live in Houston, I'd love to meet you. Come by our beautiful showroom where we have over a dozen brands of windows and doors to choose from. And if you don't live in this area, I've compiled a list of great window companies. Maybe you should check it out. It's jeffslist.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll talk to you again real soon.